Hi, welcome to my channel. This will be my first character study video that's not about a book character. I'll be talking about Sokka from Avatar the Last Airbender, a great fantasy genre TV series. Let's get started. This channel is going to mainly focus on characters from fantasy books, but sometimes I want to step out of that and talk about a character from somewhere else, like Sokka. Just in case you haven't watched it yet, spoilers. From the first 2 episodes, I knew that Sokka was going to be, if not my favorite character, at least one of my favorite characters, for a couple of reasons. The first one being something a little more personal to me, and the second one just being like, oh, this is gonna be a good character. The first Sokka moment that kind of won me over for him was when he's talking to the future generation of Water Tribe warriors, the little kids who are sitting around him, and he's teaching them, this is what it means to be a warrior. We defend our home, we fight for our families. And then it pans to the kids who are just sitting there like, and then the little one raises his hand and goes, I have to go potty. And then they all get up and they all go potty, and Sokka's just left there going, now what? I have been a teacher for children of all ages, and I cannot explain how true to life that moment is. When that happened to Sokka, I was like, I get you. I understand that moment. That has literally happened to me this last school year. And the second moment that made me know that I was going to really like Sokka as the series went on was when Katara is saying, we need to go. We have to rescue Aang. And Sokka already has the boat already packed to go. He knew his sister. He was going to be on her side. He was going to support her and go with her. And showing that brotherly support for her kind of sets up his character for the rest of the series. So one of the things that I think can make Sokka more relatable than some of the other characters is that he's the only one in the main group, except Momo, if you want to count him, that's not a bender, unless you count bending our funny bones. Was that too cheesy? I don't know. It can be a little hard to relate to a character who has powers and magic. He doesn't. He's just a normal dude. But he is a normal dude who deeply cares about his friends and family. His passion and his intensity for protecting the people he cares about is so apparent from episode 1. In fact, in episode 1, we don't see a lot of the humor and sarcasm that starts to show up later, which I will get to. Sokka is the best warrior that the Water Tribe has, and he's the only one they have left. He was left when the older men all went out on their quest. He was left to protect his tribe. He was the only one left to raise up and train the next generation. He's kind of the only one, and he takes that responsibility so seriously. He does not treat it lightly. He knows he is the last warrior left right now. And when Zuko arrives at the South Pole and he comes walking down the ramp to try to find the Avatar, Sokka goes charging in alone and confronts Zuko immediately. And he does it more than once. One of his little warriors-to-be throws him his weapon and he gets up and attacks Zuko again. Sokka shows such bravery. He's one guy. Zuko is not just one guy. He's a firebender and he has soldiers all around him, and Sokka still just charges in. He is not afraid. Brave and foolish? Maybe, but still very brave. As the series progresses, Sokka learns a lot and gains a lot of wisdom and experience, and later on in the series, he would have handled the situation differently and far better, but no less bravely. There's a moment that I thought was really great when Sokka and Katara are getting ready to leave the South Pole to go find Aang and try to save Aang, and Gran comes and says, you're gonna need this. And she gives them a little advice, and she says that their destiny will be intertwined with the Avatar. And I love that she says that not just to Katara, who is a bender, who's going out to try to learn and become better at what she is, but she also says it to Sokka. Both of them have their destiny intertwined with the Avatar, which I think is super important for Sokka to know, because his sister is a bender, Aang is a bender. He's going to spend a lot of time around very powerful benders, and he himself is not one. And knowing from the very beginning that his destiny is to be with them, I think will help to keep his eyes on the path and keep him going, even when we get to that part later where he starts to doubt himself. Don't worry, I'll get there. Sokka quote from episode 2. I'm just a guy with a boomerang. I didn't ask for all this flying and magic. Sorry, buddy. You're gonna have to get used to it. So a couple more things that I think make Sokka super relatable and very human. This is a guy who likes his comforts. He likes food, he really likes sleep, and if he doesn't get those things regularly on a regular schedule, he gets a little grouchy. I totally understand the sentiment. Over the course of this series, Sokka starts to get this reputation for humor, bad jokes, puns, sarcasm. He's always doing something funny. I'm really happy that they didn't just turn him into the comedic relief. He is kind of, but that's not his only role in the show. Sometimes the character who becomes the comedic relief only serves that purpose. Sokka does bring relief through humor. He loves to make his friends laugh, and sometimes he makes us as the watchers laugh, but that's not all he does. He is so much more than just the funny guy, and I'm so thankful that the writers of this show did not try to turn him into just the funny guy. But he is able to start to kind of find himself and loosen up. In preparation for this video, I went back and watched a little bit from the beginning of the series to remind myself how it starts and how his journey starts. And I was a little surprised at how unfunny he is in the first couple of episodes. He is so passionate and he is so strong of a character because that's what he has to be. When he was left at home to be the only warrior, he doesn't have time to just be a normal teenage kid. He doesn't have time for joking around and hanging out with friends. He is the one protector. And so when he is able to go off with Katara and Aang out to travel, he's able to loosen up and find himself and find that he is kind of a funny guy, and he has the freedom to do that because he's not protecting his village the whole time. The only people he has to be responsible for now are two very capable people. His sister and his friend Aang aren't the normal helpless kids that he had in his village to watch over. They're kind of a team. They all take care of each other. So there's so much less pressure on Sokka now. The pressure has released. The jokes come tumbling forth now. And I think that something that also really helps with this transformation for Sokka is his friendship with Aang. Aang, despite being the Avatar and having so much on his shoulders, he's still a young, playful boy. And that friendship between Sokka and Aang, Sokka didn't get to have that kind of friendship before at home in the Water Tribe, but now he and Aang form this friendship and they're able to joke and be silly and tease Katara sometimes. And I think that friendship was so healthy for both of them. They both really needed a friend. Sokka is the classic idea man. He's always coming up with ideas and he always has a plan. And he's also very goal-oriented. Whatever the goal is, okay guys, this is the plan. That's what we're doing. His eyes are on the goal and he wants to get there. So sometimes when his friends come up with something else they want to do, to sidetrack, to go a different direction, he can get a little unkind because that wasn't the plan. This is the plan, we're doing this. Why aren't we following the plan? Why aren't we following my plan? And while I would never agree with him being unkind in any way, sometimes his friends need that person to keep them on track. But no matter what else happens with Sokka, no matter the jokes, the sarcasm, the bad attitude he has sometimes, regardless of anything else that happens, he puts his friends and the people he cares about first. He has a protector's spirit, he has a warrior's spirit, and as he grows and learns, watching out for people weaker than him, people who need him, never changes. Sokka is not a bender. He has a lot going on for him, but he spends a lot of time not just with benders, but with very powerful and talented benders. And as the series started to go on, I began to wonder, is he ever going to start to doubt himself? Is he ever going to compare what he can accomplish with what they can accomplish? And lo and behold, in season 3, we get an episode just for him to deal with that very thing. I think he needed that episode. I think he needed to have this moment of, I may not be a bender and I may not be able to do what all my friends can do, but that doesn't mean that I don't still contribute and still have a lot to give. And in that episode, there's a little emphasis put on the fact that he is the funny guy and he cheers them and makes them happy and makes them laugh. His role is so much more important than that though. Although I am glad they included that part of what he does for his friends. We all need that friend who makes us laugh, right? But I'm so glad that the creators of this show did not ignore the fact that this would be an issue in real life. If these people were real and there were a group of friends where everyone had such amazing talent and one friend did not have the same talent, that friend is going to notice and they're going to wonder what's wrong with them. Sokka's friends really care about him. They recognize his worth. They want him to recognize and know his worth too. But his friends are very young. They're like 12, 13, 14, very, very young. They're not going to know how to articulate to Sokka just what he means to them and just what he does for them. So they're like, yeah, you're great, you make us laugh, ha ha ha. But what his friends do know is that they have all served under a master, someone who could train them and bring out the best in them. And they know that Sokka hasn't had that. The older warriors in their tribe that could have trained him left, and Sokka only had himself to rely on. Then he goes traveling with the Avatar and friends, and he's still the oldest one. He's still the one who feels like he has to take care of them. So who does he have? So his friends say, okay, let's find you a master. And I think that was really smart of his friends. He needs someone older, wiser, more experienced than him to look at him and say, Sokka, here's what you're good at. Let's practice it so you can get even better at it. So they find Sokka a master, someone who can teach him not only to be a better warrior, but to learn the things about himself that he's actually really good at. The master sees Sokka's potential, and he works his very hardest to bring that out in Sokka. They have such a short time together, and this guy kind of works miracles with Sokka. It's great. Never underestimate the power of creative problem solving. Such a real-world, useful attribute. Maybe we undervalue it, but that is one of Sokka's greatest strengths. It's kind of played up through the episode like it's going to be his failure, that he looks out at the horizon and then when he colors the picture he adds rainbows and sunshine and birdies and stuff. He's being creative. He's not only seeing what's there, he's adding his own thoughts and his own ideas to it. And the master sees that and goes, what would happen in a fight if you saw the battlefield that creatively? Through the series, when they're faced with problems that it doesn't seem like they can overcome, Sokka can look at the problem, get creative with it, get his ideas, since he's known as the idea man, and just look at things from a new perspective, from a new point of view. And so while Sokka does learn to be a better warrior and a better swordsman and a better fighter, he also just learns more about himself and that he has intrinsic worth. Couple more things I'd like to say about Sokka here. That moment when Sokka finally gets to reunite with his father was such a good moment in this series. They have been apart for a long time. His father kind of threw a lot of responsibility at him by leaving him, and Sokka is so nervous. But he walks up, he sees the men of his tribe, he goes into the tent where his father is, and it's kind of an emotional reunion. You don't know what's going to happen, you don't know what their reactions to each other will be, but they are just happy to see each other. And something else I really appreciated about this reunion, a lot of times in stories or in real life even, if a parent and a child have been apart for a long time and are reunited, the parent can't help seeing their child as the little kid they used to be. That's kind of natural, that's what you would expect. When you haven't seen a kid for a long time and you see them again and suddenly they're way taller, it's normal. You picture someone as the last time you saw them. But when they reunite, Sokka's father does not treat him like the kid he left. He treats him like a man and a warrior and respects all the experiences he had, all he's had to go through to become the young man that he is since they parted. And now on to Sokka's love life. His first girlfriend became the moon. He was very smitten. She was beautiful. They had this thing going on. It didn't work out. That's okay. Now Sokka has a great story and he can say, my first girlfriend was the moon. I dated the moon. My first girlfriend was the moon. Who was your first girlfriend again? See that bright shining orb? I dated that. I think that Sokka and Suki are a great match. When he first meets her, he is a little full of himself. He is a lot sexist, and she has a big hand in teaching him some humility and teaching him a different way to view women. By the end of the series, he doesn't seem like a sexist person anymore, and Suki was a big part of that for him. So, good for you, Suki. But these are two people who are both not benders. They have both learned to become warriors to protect their home. They're both fighting against the Fire Nation, and they really just kind of get along well as friends, but they also like each other. They like each other. Do you like Suki, or do you like Suki? Suki is a girl who laughs at Sokka's jokes. She appreciates his humorous side. Sokka respects Suki as a warrior. He's not intimidated by her capability anymore. Even though he might have been, he's gotten over that. And these are two people who can really rely on each other. And in the last battle, when these two have to fight together and take over the airships together, they know that they can count on each other and rely on each other. They are a team. He's protecting her, but she's also protecting him, and they fight together, and I think they are such a good match. This is all I have to say about Sokka for now. I could probably go on, but I think we got there. He is a good man. He really is humble, even though he acts like he's not sometimes. He is a fierce protector. He cares about his friends. He fights for the ones he loves. If you like content like this and you like hearing in-depth studies on your favorite characters, like this video, subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye!